Welcome to another edition of Inside Guyana. Today in our studio we have a special guest, a very special person, a very special personality as well. So on behalf of our cameraman Ravi and our producer Prakash, I would like to ask you viewers to please join me in welcoming the one and only Guyanese person, Guyanese woman, who is also an assembly woman in the 59th District, New York, Mrs. Roxanne Persaud. Roxanne, welcome to the program Inside Guyana.
Thank you very much for having me. It's really a pleasure to come here and to address the Guyanese population. I really appreciate that, and I look forward to more collaboration in the future. You know, today is a great day for me because I'm, as you said, my name is Roxanne Persaud. I represent the 59th Assembly District. In Brooklyn, it covers Canarsie, Mill Basin, Garrettson Beach, and Bergen Beach. It's across the southern end of Brooklyn. And it was a great pleasure for me winning that seat and representing that area. When I tell people that I'm representing the area, they're surprised because I happen to be the first woman to represent the 59th Assembly District and also the first Guyanese going to the New York State Assembly. So I wear many hats in that respect. And again, I really appreciate you having me here today.
Very good, and we are very, very happy to let our viewers hear how good Guyanese we have. We hear some bad things sometimes with the, airlines and all of that coming in with a lot of unpleasant stuff or unnecessary stuff. Roxanne Persaud, the first question we normally would put to our viewers of this program is to tell us a little bit about yourself. I'll be very, very happy if you can please tell our viewers a little bit about your background, probably your parenthood, your childhood, your education background. And I think most importantly, our viewers who are looking at this program are very, very concerned whether it's your right name or not. You have Roxanne Persaud.
That's me.
And they were expecting, I'm sure, to see an Indian person, so to speak. So it is very unique, and I'm sure I would like you actually to please tell our viewers a little bit about that aspect of your name and your background, please.
I don't think it's as unique as any longer. As growing up, it was really unique. Yes, I was born Roxanne Persaud. Kenrick Persaud is my dad. Yvonne Persaud is my mom. My father is the Indio side. And so growing up, it was always people were not sure which side they should speak with us on. Over the years, I've gone to Guyana, and people have said, "Wait, are you civic?" Or, no. I had no affiliation in Guyana, any political affiliation. But I left Guyana at the age of 17. We grew up, I was born in Middle Street, Georgetown. We came to New York. My parents were here prior to that. And I attended Pace University here in New York City. I was employed at Pace University for many years. I then left Pace University. I was employed at St. Francis College. My entire career has been in higher education. Along with that, I've always been involved in community service, whether it's a block association, anything possible. I've been the president of the 69th Precinct Community Council. I've been a member of the Lions Club, the Community Board 18. I was commissioner on the last redistricting of New York City for the City Council. So I've been always involved in things. So I'm always the busy person. You know, you say when you want something done, give it to a busy person. When you want it really done, give it to a busy woman. You'll get it done. So I've always strived to do my best in everything that I've done, and I continue to do wherever possible to engage others so that they can become involved in community. It's just what I have. Growing up in Guyana as a little girl, you know, when you take that pledge as a little brownie and you say, "I pledge that I will do my best," you do that, and that's what you continue to do. You should never stop doing your best.
Very, very, very good. That's a brief and very precise answer to the question. Roxanne, now let us talk a little bit more about your interaction with the Guyanese diaspora here in New York and other parts of the United States. What are some of the experiences that you probably would like to share with our viewers that you've had with the interaction with Guyanese community?
You know, it's an interesting thing because, as I said before, you have the dynamic where people are not sure which side you're on. So it depends on which cultural group you're participating in, and people are never sure of who you are. But then you let them know, I am Roxanne. This is who I am. I straddle both sides. I interact with everyone equally in that. I've gone to Guyana over the years. I've volunteered in Guyana for many years. I've done that with organizations where we've done surgeries in Guyana. We've done it in the Essequibo. We've done it in Georgetown. We've worked with the Cancer Society. We've done many things in Guyana. I remember being on television once in Guyana and talking about the things we wanted to do and how important it was for people to get involved and to succeed at doing things. And I said to them, failure is not an option. You must always strive to do your best. And for the rest of the time that I was there, people would always come up to me and says, remember what you said, failure is not an option. I said, yeah. But then there was a backlash for that because they expected you to always get things done. And then coming back to New York, people are always saying, well, what are you going to go in Guyana? Why do you want to go to Guyana? Well, I was born there. My sister always says, it's a joke we have, anything happens, you have to go back to the country of your birth. So you have to ensure that you keep an open relationship with the country of your birth. If you don't do that, then it's not to anyone's benefit. So in New York City, I tend to work with Guyanese across the board in any way possible. I've always been telling the Guyanese people, reach out to me. Reach out to me. Let's talk. Let's talk. Someone once had to come to our home to deliver something, and they were unsure of whether they can come to the home. And they called the person and says, why are you sending me to the Indian person's house? Right? So the person had to explain to them, it's not really an Indian person's house you're going to. So when they came, they said, oh, they saw us in a different light, but you shouldn't see, that should not be the barrier. You should look at it, oh, it's a Guyanese person's home I'm going to. Let's talk as Guyanese. Guyanese events, there tend to be many Guyanese events, and over the years, they tend to be, whether it's in Queens, whether it's in Brooklyn, whether it's in New York, in New Jersey, and when you go to these events, you see the different populations. It's never a mixture of Guyanese. It's never a true representation of Guyana. So we have to work on that as Guyanese if we want people to take us seriously as a people, especially now when we talk about moving forward, national unity. When we talk about that, it's important that we come together as Guyanese people, not as Indo-Guyanese, Afro-Guyanese, Chinese whatever. It's we come together as Guyanese people so that we can move forward, move the agenda of Guyana forward, move the agenda of the Guyanese people in New York State forward. Because when we become, the more successful we are, it transcends to the Guyanese people back in Guyana, and they will ride the success that we have, and they will move forward.
Madam Assemblywoman, you probably might have some suggestions for the new coalition government in Guyana, because exactly what you're saying there, I think, is what they're stating as their objective also. So from your experience, I mean, they're now in power, they just got into power recently, and you've been doing this all your life. So you might have, I'm sure, a certain expertise that would permit you to advise them a little bit. So what are some of the, if you were to advise them, what are some of the specific advice you might want to give to the coalition, the new coalition government under President David Arthur Granger?
Coalition government, yes. I did a congratulatory message that I sent to a newspaper, and I said, I congratulated them, and I said, you know what you need to do? You ride the wave. Capitalize on what you have right now. The youth are involved. Use that. Keep them involved. If you want the country to move forward, keep the youth involved. You saw them cleaning the streets. Capitalize on that. Okay, they've cleaned the streets. What else do you have for them to do? keep them moving from project to project. You have to. If you just let them fall back, oh, we've cleaned the street, there's nothing else for us to do, they will fall back. It's going to be regression. And you don't want that to happen. You want them to say, okay, now we've cleaned up Georgetown. Let's take the teams now on the outskirts of Georgetown and work with the other communities to help to clean up, or in whatever capacity there is. What is helping someone to build some housing, to repair the housing, to dig some trenches so that the water can flow properly. Keep the youth involved. Ask them questions. Don't take it for granted that you know what the youth need, or ask them questions. Have town hall forum. Say to them, what is it that you're looking for? What is it that we're missing as a government that you have not gotten? What do you see as your future? Talk to them. If you talk to them and then you take the ideas that they're giving you and you build on that and make sure that you acknowledge that the ideas that you're moving forward came from the discussions you had with the youth, it will take the country a long way.
No,
Keep the youth involved.
I think those are very, very good suggestions, and I want to subscribe to that and support those views. They're very, very professional, and I would say scientific as well. Yeah. Roxanne, I understand that you are very much involved in education here in the United States. Let's focus on the Guyanese diaspora and education. What are some of the advantages that you think the Guyanese diaspora, or people of Guyanese origin, or foreigners who are residing here, can access from the various state organizations?
First, let's start with in Guyana. Everyone always talks about the intelligence of Guyanese people. And then there was this brain drain, countries that were taking them, whether it's in Africa to be teachers, bringing them to New York to be teachers, or whatever, bringing nurses and all of that. So the country experienced a brain drain. But there are many youths going into the University of Guyana, and some of them are being sponsored by the government to come out of the country to be educated. Now we have to ask the people who are sponsored by the government to be educated to take their knowledge back, so they can go back into the schools and teach the people there the knowledge that they gained based on what was given to them. In 2001, I was working at Pace University. I was the registrar there, and we worked with Dr. Curtin from the University of Guyana and a team of political science students, and we brought them to New York. It so happened that they were flying into New York on the day of 9/11. Their plane was diverted back to Puerto Rico, but then many days later, they came to New York, and we still hosted them with the model UN teams that we had at the college, because we wanted them to experience international flavor of United Nations politics, and it worked out very well. Still in contact with the students who came, and so we want to do. Those are the kinds of things we encourage the university to do. The Technical Institute, the university. Ordinary people can do it. You can collaborate with organizations here. Bring students over. It's the summer vacation. Bring them over so that they can experience a science program during the summer. And then they take it back and they teach others. Bring them over. Let them do a television program. Learn the dynamics of the technology. You take it over and you teach. It's, bring one, you teach one, and that one teaches another, and you continue to do those things. The University of Guyana has to do more collaboration with universities here in the United States. I've known of some colleges that have reached out to them to do some work, and if those pan out, it will be a great thing for Guyanese, because then you'll have the resources here that at all times you can tap into. Also, I remember going back, and we had doctors who wanted to do some telemedicine with doctors in Guyana. And it was a difficult thing because we could never get it off the ground, because they were not receptive. People were not really receptive to that. But I think now, the doctors, more and more doctors are being trained outside of the country. They're seeing what is needed. Maybe they can start looking at that. So you can advance medicine in Guyana. You should not be a major illness, you always send the person out and you have to spend that money. Let's use the money, the resources to educate the doctors that are there, the nurses that are there, advance their training so they can become the experts within Guyana.
Okay, I think that was a little bit off. That was a little bonus on the question.
I know.
The question was about,
I think I got caught up in my in
exactly.
the answer.
I see. That is very, very important also to know. And but we were basically focusing, first of all, on the Guyanese here in New York State. Since you're a state assemblywoman in 59 district, you might have an better understanding of what opportunities exist for Guyanese here. Just briefly, if you can shed some light.
Well, there are many opportunities as a college person. I always saw the Guyanese, and I would see the name on the address. I'd say, "Hey, are your parents Guyanese?" And then you'll say, "Yes, I'm a first-generation college student. My parents wanted to make sure that I attend college." We need to make sure more of the kids are doing that. More of the kids are being placed. Not all children want to attend college to do the traditional academia. They don't. So we want the parents to encourage the kids in whatever way possible for higher education. And higher education does not mean going to college. It means you can be going to a technical institute. You can be doing a trade, some kind of trade. So you are advancing your education. We want them to come into our offices, especially my office. Use me as a resource. My office is right there in 5318 Avenue N in Brooklyn. Come to us and let's see what resources are there. What are the issues, the challenges that you're facing when you're trying to advance your education? Let's see if we can work with you to overcome the challenge so that the children can move on. We also want, it's not only the children coming out of high school, we want the adults to advance their education. Too often you hear older adults, they've come from Guyana and they says, "Oh, I didn't finish high school. Oh, I finished high school, but there was nothing else to do." So they come here and they don't do anything else. So now they're living through their children. We want those parents, go to the library. There are resources in the library that can assist you in advancing your education, assist you in advancing your knowledge of technology. So when your child comes home, whether your child is in primary school, secondary, high school, college, when they come home, you can sit down and bond, and you can work alongside each other. You can understand your child's homework. The child can assist you with what you're also learning, because you're going to the library. If you haven't done the programs, try to get a high school education through the, what it used to be called the GED. Try to do that. Go to the library. That's the resource. We want people to do that. And also we want other Guyanese organizations to reach out to the Guyanese people. You know the people. You know what their needs are. Host weekend classrooms for them. Bring teachers in. Have volunteers from the Guyanese community come in and teach them on the weekends so that they can advance themselves. So it's a collective effort. We all have to come together to do it and use the resources. The city of New York has lots of resources that can be tapped into for us to elevate ourselves.
Can you give us some examples of those?
As I said, the library. The library offers many resources. BOCES, there's a program, the New York State Department of Education, New York City Department of Education. They have the adult training programs. It's all downtown Brooklyn. It's in every borough, they have it. You just go into those offices and you explain to them. Go to the librarian. Wealth of knowledge there. Tell the librarian, I'm interested in completing a high school diploma. What can I do? They offer the classes there. Go to the librarian and say, "I'm interested in learning computer classes. Where can I go?" They'll tell you. They host some of the classes there. Also, go to your local high school. Speak to the guidance counselor. Say, "Do you offer any after-school programs for adults that we can come in?" Go to the community board. Ask them, "Do you know of any programs that are geared towards adult education?" they will tell you. If you have local colleges, the community colleges, they will tell you. Continuing education, adult education programs, they have that. And that's where you have to tap into it. So it's not just saying, oh, I don't know. There are lots of places where you can go. Go to your local assembly member. Go to your local city council member, your state senator, your congressperson. The resources are there. If they don't know it, they can contact the area to get it and pass it on to you.
Madam Assemblywoman Roxanne Persaud, I'm sure our viewers would definitely benefit from the information you've been giving here today on this interview. I'm sure they're going to be very grateful for that. And now let us move on a little bit in this interview and ask you also to share your experiences with our viewers as to how some of the problems emerge among the Guyanese diaspora and how they're being resolved.
Problems.
If any problem, I'm sure there might
Well,
be some
I'm just going to
problems.
be general. I see when the issues arise because we tend not to want to work together. So, and that creates the first division, and that's where the root of our problem is. We tend to say it's this group or it's that group. It's not us. It's we don't say it's us as Guyanese. Oh, it's their problem. It's that. And so people tend to look at there are groups in New York City. They're very cohesive groups. And when people talk about them, they talk about them because they're a strong body. They're like, X group. They'll all come out when there's an issue within their community. You don't see the Guyanese community doing that. You see them saying to want to be alone. Group A, Group B, Group C. Group A wants they have an opinion. Group B has an opinion. Group C has an opinion. And they are taking 3 opinions to the governing body. Well, when you see, instead of coming together, 3 groups merging into one, taking one opinion, and the governing body will listen to that opinion, we don't do that. Because it's the me mentality. We have to get away from the me mentality and look at it as the us mentality. There's that saying, team together, we all each achieves more. That's what we have to do. And people will start respecting us from that. They'll start looking at us and taking our opinions seriously once we say that. We need to become parts of our community boards so that we have a voice in what is happening in our community. Where we're the dominant groups in our community, we should have a say in what goes on there. So if there's an issue that's affecting the community, that's brought to the community board, before the final decision is made, we should have a say. We should have a say in that outcome. And we're not doing that because people see us as a fractured group. We have to break away from that. Let them see us as one group.
I really enjoyed that answer. I mean, all the answers you've been giving here today are very, very constructive, and I think they're relevant, and I'm sure our viewers out there are going to benefit a lot. And even anyone looking at this program will gain so much. I can tell you from my personal experience dealing with people, dealing with issues, that you have very specific and solid answers and advice. Roxanne, I want to thank you very much for that aspect of the interview. Also, let us move on a little bit. And normally on this program Inside Guyana, we don't only ask questions to get the answers or get the opinions of the persons being interviewed here, but we also give you an opportunity without any question to look at our viewers in the eye. This is our viewer here. And tell him whatever advice, whatever you want to say from your side, without questions.
Okay.
Please go right ahead now. You have 3 to 4 minutes for that.
Okay. This is for all Guyanese people. We have come a long way, but there's still a lot to be done. Next year, Guyana will be celebrating their 50th in the year of independence. Well, along with that celebration, let's come together as one people. Our motto, one people, one nation, one destiny. Let's come together and show the world that we can grow as a people. Let the world see Guyana as not the impoverished nation that they see us as, but as a progressive people When they see us as a progressive people, the world will stand up and take notice of us. That's what we want. Let's continue to educate our people. Let's continue to work with others to move the country forward. Let's not look behind us. Let's look forward. What can we do as a people to move the country of Guyana forward? How can we work with the entities that are in place to move the country forward? Those are questions we should all ask ourselves. And once we have the answers, then we know that we are doing what's right for Guyana. Let's look at it this way. We have a movement currently where the youth are engaged. Keep them engaged. Keep them engaged. If you have a business in Guyana, if you have a business in New York City, and you know of young people who need to be taught a skill, bring them in. Encourage them to come in. Make them an apprentice to your business. Let them learn the skills so that they can move on. We're not saying, it's going to cost sometimes. It may cost your business, but it's for the better good. If you invest in the youth of your community and the youth of the country, it's for the betterment of all Guyanese people. And I implore everyone to do that. Let's work together. Let's not think of ourselves as Indo-Guyanese, Afro-Guyanese, whatever Guyanese. Let's think of ourselves as Guyanese. Let's think of ourselves as a people who collectively can move our country forward. And I say our country, I do not have a Guyanese passport. They were saying, someone said to me, do you have a Guyanese passport? No, I haven't had one for 30 years. But I still say I'm a Guyanese. My mother said yesterday, she says, I think I'm going to go and apply for a Guyanese passport. Let's think of ourselves still as Guyanese. People, there's a song that was once said by a calypsonian from another country that talked about people from a country who run away from their country because of hardship. Let's not continue to talk about running away from Guyana because of hardship. Let's continue to talk about making it a better Guyana. We may not make it the best that it should be, but let's continue to work to making it better. Each step that we make is for the greater good. Each step that we make makes it a better country. Each step that we make makes it acceptable across the world. Each step that we make, it helps to educate our people. So Guyanese, work with me. Join me in this. Let's work to make Guyana great. Thank you.
Well, viewers, you have just listened to the one and only Roxanne Persaud. She's the first, as you've heard, first in many areas. The first Guyanese woman to be elected to the as an assemblywoman in District 59 and probably in any
New York State.
New York States. And she's the first woman I have known looking like her of African like
Don't
physical
worry.
yes, and with the name Persaud. And she's also a person who was born in Georgetown, and she's so brilliant, as you've heard her advice and her expertise here today. Roxanne, on behalf of the management and staff of ITV, on behalf of our cameraman, our producer, we want to thank you so much for coming to our program Inside Guyana, and we're looking forward to many more interactions with you. You have a lot more to offer our people and anyone in our community. I'm sure they all will be very, very grateful to you in various ways, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Pleasure being here.
Thank you for watching. This is Dr. Rudy Jadoopat reporting for ITV Vision of Asia News.